Hello and welcome to a Blaseball Statistical History, a look at the core mechanics development across the expansion era. The mechanics joined the ILB in Season 12 as one of the 4 breach teams. Their team slogan is "We can fix this," and having missed the Arcana assignments, they share the Fool with the other 3 breach teams. They have 3 championships to their name, and the modification Maintenance Mode, which means if a player is impaired, the team receive the 4th out for the rest of that game. Their roster is fully evolved, but also unimpressive, with no standout players. As the team arrived partway through the season, they did not play any games, meaning they finished joint last in the league. They do get to take part in the election, where they steal pitching star Polka Dot Patterson from the Moist Talkers and make an internal rotation change. This gives their rotation a serious boost, but it may not be enough to compete with the other teams. Season 13 sees a valiant effort, as they finish 5th in their division and joint 19th in the league. They experience misfortune, losing a win to Black Hole, seeing a player spend 12 days elsewhere, and hugely, 2 incinerations. 2 feedbacks mix up the rotation some more, but the team get the benefit of 15 parties. In the election, they revoke a member of their lineup and infuse another. They gain a batter due to the Crabs revoking them, but the Moist Talkers want Polka Dot back. The mechanics look much stronger already. Despite losing Polka Dot, their rotation is full of power, and the lineup, although lagging behind, has developed too. Performance-wise, Season 14 is much the same. They gain a win from Sun 2, whilst elsewhere increases in popularity. They lose the Wyatt Mason they gained in the late siesta, but once again benefit from lots of parties. Their wills this time grant one player the homebody mod and another an infusion. The team win their first blessing, giving double snack payouts, and due to a Garage's win, 2 of their players gain the minimalist and maximalist mods. The party boosts are beginning to show, as the team continues to improve. And they begin to move up the rankings, now at 4th in their division and 15th overall. They get wildcarded into the postseason, but can't make it past the breath mints. 3 of their players are observed, but nothing comes of it, and another 9 parties increase the boosts. They use their wills to shake things up, making a lineup swap and shortening their rotation. And they win 3 blessings, making all of their pitchers maximalists, improving all of their pitchers, and getting a batting boost for their Shadows players. This sees the rotation really becoming a threat, and the lineup is making progress. Season 16 is a big jump up for the mechanics, as they hit 2nd in their division and joint 6th overall, qualifying them for the postseason. They make it all the way to the League Series before being knocked out by the stakes. An otherwise quiet season, they gain 2 wins from Sun 2, and 1 player is uneventfully observed. In the election, they once again claim Polka Dot Patterson, and also give a batter a transfusion. Due to some election shenanigans, Polka Dot is not the pitcher they once were, and are now the weakest member of the mechanics rotation. It is a tough season for the team, as they tumble to the bottom of the league. On the way, they lose 2 wins to Black Hole. Both their lineup and rotation are reverbed, and 2 feedbacks see more shake-ups. Polka Dot gets a Blood Rain boost, but Fax Machine makes a pitcher substitution. However, to make up for it, the team gets 16 parties. Being bottom of the league entitles them to 3 wills, which they use to make another pitcher substitution, shorten the rotation, and transfuse 1 player, which also triggers their maintenance mode mod, meaning they start the next season with the 4th out. They then say goodbye to Everton McBlaze II, who roams to the Firefighters. The team is now shorter and has dealt with many of its weakest points. And this is evident in play, as they move back up the league and into the postseason, which they win. The weather turns out net neutral for wins, but Blood Rain is more negative. Fax Machine changes the rotation, and a feedback with the Lovers mixes up the lineup. Their only consumer attack is defended against, and they get one party. The team receive 3 gifts, making them fireproof and seeing 2 players gain items. In the election, wills are used to alternate one player and to move another to the shadows. They then gain a player due to a firefighter's revoke, and the flowers steal their strongest pitcher. The earlier feedback was kind to the mechanics, and the replacement pitcher from the flowers isn't too bad. This time, the team finished 4th in their division, but still in the top half of the league. They join the rest of the teams in the seasonal reading, which makes Cannonball Sports an undertaker. The weather is very much on their side, but elsewhere increases in popularity, with a total of 236 days spent away. There is another rotation change and 3 parties, but they also get 2 gifts, making them life of the party and seeing another player gain an item. They use their wills to make a swap in their lineup and to infuse a shadow pitcher, but the player they just moved into their lineup then gets recruited by the shoe thieves. The team gets shorter and shorter and isn't helped by 2 players taking extended trips elsewhere, but both rotation and lineup now have huge amounts of star power. And they prove it in Season 20, coming 2nd in their division and joint 4th overall. They head into another postseason, which they win, taking their championship count to 5. The weather is fairly neutral, both for winds and in Blood Rain. However, there's an allergic peanut reaction, and a player gets shelled. All 4 consumer attacks are defended against, but elsewhere remains a hot destination, reducing the player number of an already short team. Generously, the team get 4 gifts from their friends, making them late to the party, 1 player ambitious, and gaining 2 more items. The election sees some fun, as they make a player trade with the stakes, and then due to the order of operations, reclaim the one they sent away by moving them to their shadows. The team enter Season 21 with 6 active players available, with rotation and lineup being the same length. Good news is, all 6 are very good players. This reduced team top their division and come 4th in the league, heading into another postseason. But this time they are knocked out in the division series by the Fridays. They lose 1 win to Black Hole, but gain 11 from Sun 30. Players return from elsewhere, but continue to visit. However, Kelvin Drum Solo emerges from their shell, thanks to birds. Consumers make more attacks, but are defended against, and Voicemail decides to change the lineup. The team also see 2 positive and 1 negative Blood Rain. They get 3 gifts this season, making them late to the party, 1 player ambitious, and another gain an item. In the election, they swap a player with the Moist Talkers and infuse a Shadows player. They also win 2 blessings, magnifying a player and alternating a few others. The team remains mostly the same power-wise, but more players are available for the opening of the season. There is a slight slip in performance, as the mechanics come 3rd in their division and 11th in the league. They gain 6 wins from Sun 30, but still see plenty of interest in elsewhere. Voicemail really kicks in, making 4 changes to the lineup. There is 1 party, 1 player is unstable but survives it, and 2 defended consumer attacks. With their 4 gifts, the mechanics are granted 4 replicas, which nearly doubles the team's size. Wills allow the team to make a change to their rotation and infuse a Shadows player. They lose a different Shadows player to the garages, and see 1 player become a subtractor and 1 skipping, due to the Fridays and the worms. The rotation change the team made has left a big hole, which could really hurt their game. And it does, as they finish bottom of their division and joint 23rd overall. They do qualify for the under bracket, where they make it to the League Series before being knocked out by the Magic. They gain 3 wins from Black Hole and 3 from Sun 30. 2 players are unstable, but both survive, and there's a negative Blood Rain. The Thieves Guild gives them a Shadows player and takes 1 away, but the team also get 8 parties. Several players continue to visit elsewhere, but the biggest events of the season are voicemail and fax machine, which work overtime to mix up the whole roster. During the season, they are visited by the current holder of the 5th base, who joins their rotation, gets faxed into their shadows, and then still roams away 9 days later. In the late siesta, the mechanics gain 2 gifts, becoming early to the party and seeing one player become unambitious. At the election, they choose the roamless party favour and join the rest of the league in becoming under review. They also send a shadows player to the tacos. Entering the final season of the era, the team look very strong indeed. But it is a tough season for the mechanics, as they finish 17th of the 24 ILB teams, and 7th in their new division of the Desert. They gain 3 wins from Sun 30, and defend against all their consumer attacks, whilst visits to elsewhere are way down. Fax Machine continues to make changes to the rotation. 2 players are observed and get redacted, but 1 manages a party before they go. In Season 24, the mechanics head straight for the Desert, where they take part in scattering the coin, and once that's done, head back there. In the expansion era, the mechanics face 2 incinerations, 5 feedbacks, and 1 reverb, alongside 68 parties. They have 1 allergic peanut reaction, and Blood Rain works out neutral, with 6 positive and negative. Black Hole is also neutral, but Sun 2 is in their favour, with 7 positive activations to 3 negative. 1 of their players gets shelled, 3 are unstable, 6 are observed, and 2 get redacted. They don't see any night shifts, but receive the most voicemails in the division, with 11. They also have 15 fax machines, whilst they both gain and lose 1 Shadows player due to the Thieves Guild. Their players take 41 trips to elsewhere, which is the most in Mild High. They gain 23 wins from Sun 30 and face 15 consumer attacks. Their Arcana the Fool only appears in 1 seasonal reading. They get 18 gifts, are awarded 23 wills, and win 6 blessings. They compete in 5 postseasons, once as wildcard, and win 2 championships. They also take part in 1 underbracket. At the end of the expansion era, the mechanics are a team 8 players long, but those 8 players have a lot of star power between them. Thank you for joining me for another Blaxplanation. I'll be back with more Blaseball fun and facts soon, but until then, rejoice, play ball.